Hey guys, welcome to today's show. We're talking all about calorie tracking. Does it matter? Does it not? Is it important? And we're going to jump right in because there's a lot of conflicting schools of thought when it comes to nutrition and what's best. And one highly debated topic is how much calories matter when it comes to weight loss and performance. And some say calories are all that matters. They tend to be on the philosophy of calories in versus calories out, of simplistic way of looking at it, while others may say the quality and type of food matters and calories are not really a factor. And I'm here to tell you that they're both correct and how to make sense of some of the conflicting information out there. So listen up today and we'll get the lowdown on calories and what it means to you and your nutrition specifically. So if you're looking to get leaner, build muscle, or lose fat, then you have to at least be aware of the role that calories play and how to use them to achieve your health and fitness goals. So I know if you're listening to this and if you're trying to get healthy, if you're trying to get leaner, trying to lose some weight, calories have probably been a source of stress for you. Calories are something that aren't new to anyone. We see them on the back of anything we look at nutrition wise. We have so many tracking apps for them. A lot of the weight loss systems ask you to track these things. And while that's not a bad thing because they've seen lots of results, calories are also stressful if that's the only thing that you're looking at. And they've probably caused you stress because you've probably heard that to lose weight, you have to eat less calories. And while some of that's true, it's not the whole story. And it's also missing some key things I want to talk about here today. And I know you're probably sick of hearing of the importance of calorie tracking. You're probably sick of trying to do it and feeling like you don't have the willpower maybe, or that you can't stick with it. But again, there's so much more to it and you're not alone in being frustrated by this, but you have to find the role that calories play and how they best fit into what you're trying to do, what your goals are, and also do you need to track them, yes or no? And that answer is not straightforward. It does depend on your goals, but those are some of the things that I want to give some clarity around here today. And I've seen it. I've worked with people that eat way too many calories and don't even realize it. There's a lot of hidden things that pop up, and there's people that they report what they're eating, and whether that's written and they write it out or whether they're verbalizing what they're eating, there's always oh yeah, I pretty much just have this. And you prod a little deeper and it's like, oh yeah, and this. Well, yeah, I have some soda or some juice with this. And oh yeah, no, I have a little snack just after lunch or before breakfast. And oh yeah, I add this to my coffee as well. And all of a sudden all these things add up without us realizing it. So the problem with that is that it's probably pretty obvious that you might not be losing weight, or you might have more weight around your midsection or more weight in areas you don't want to if you're letting these subtle calories sneak into your diet. Now, there's also the people that I work with, the guys out there especially, that are trying to effectively build muscle. They're trying to put on strength, and you ask them what they're eating and they might be under eating for what their body needs. And the only way to know this, and while calorie tracking I'll talk about is not a perfect science, we have to at least have that baseline to know where you're at, to know if you're getting enough calories or if you're having too many calories, and how to adjust the plan accordingly to meet your goals. Because whether we like it or not, calories are king when it comes to controlling your weight. And that's whether you're trying to lean up or if you're trying to put on weight, put on muscle. Because if you want to lose weight, you need to consume fewer calories than what you're burning. And if you want to build muscle, you'll benefit from being in what we call a calorie surplus, or having more calories than what your base resting metabolic rate is, in terms of what you would burn if you just pretty much sat on the couch and did nothing all day. But that being said, I also want to let you guys know that focusing on calories alone will set you up for failure. So it's not sustainable, it's not fun, and it's not completely accurate to simply track calories, because for a few reasons. First, digestion is more important than ingestion. And what I mean by that is, just because you're ingesting a certain amount of food doesn't mean your body's actually processing this, and doesn't mean you're actually using that the way that it needs to. And this is complex and goes beyond the scope of this specific episode. But basically, what I mean by that is, you could think you're getting a certain amount of protein, but if your if your hormone processes aren't working, if your body's not working efficiently to process those things, then you're not going to use them efficiently. So calories alone doesn't tell the whole story. Now, another piece of that is calories vary from thing to thing. They're not, take a piece of fruit, for example. One medium-sized banana, the same length as the other one, is not going to always have the exact same nutrient makeup. It's not going to always have the exact amount of sugar and calories and carbs in it. That's just because not everything's made chemically. And some would argue that even the fruits are, and some of these things are, but for the things that we should be eating, the whole unprocessed foods, calories are going to vary from thing to thing. So to assume that it has some amount of calories is not always accurate, because it's going to vary from time to time, and you have to be aware of that. Now, the last piece of this is for why it's setting you up for failure is that calories alone relies on willpower. It's a simplistic formula. If we say that you simply have to eat less calories, that comes down to you being robotic, to you being able to say no to your hunger cravings, for you to say no to social situations. And if you do happen to binge out on something, because I know we're humans, who would ever do that, and you have a day where you eat 2,000 more calories, the amount of days it's going to take at a 200 calorie deficit is going to be 10 days just to get back to your baseline. So those are reasons that calorie counting alone is going to set you up for failure. Now, second piece to this is calorie tracking is often inaccurate, but it is a starting point, and it does guide you in on giving you a baseline. So even though it's not exactly accurate, if you eat fairly consistently and you're inputting that in and tracking it, there is some benefit to it, because you'll at least have this baseline of saying, am I moving in the right direction or am I not? Am I losing weight or am I not? And if I'm not, then calories is one piece of the puzzle to look at. And circling back to our point of sustainability, is this gets really complicated, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to fully paint a picture here in today's episode, but just want to get you guys thinking that calorie counting alone, if it doesn't feel sustainable, if you're not eating in a way that leaves you feeling satisfied, if you're feeling like you're having to rely on willpower and always feel hungry, it's only a matter of time before you crash and those calories catch up anyways. I forget where I read this. I'm pretty sure it's a Gary Taubes book, but it's called Why We Get Fat and What to Do About It. But I'm pretty sure it says if we ate just an extra 10 calories a day, so if we were off by 10 calories, which is essentially like one almond. So if we ate an extra almond per day, it would add up to like 30 pounds you gain over a year, 30 pounds you lose if you take out that almond. And basically what that is saying is that our bodies are complex. They work in amazing ways with our hormones, with how it's regulated, and simply relying on calories, if we're that specific, something is going to break down in that. You're going to mess up at some point, or you're not going to get the results you want. And it's just too finite of a thing to try and quantify exactly with calorie tracking alone. So that's why I always say, first and foremost, use food quality and macronutrients to manage your intake. So if you do well with a lower carb, higher fat approach because you feel more satisfied and therefore you eat less calories, then that is going to be an approach for you. If you do better with some smaller eating throughout the day, instead of big meals, you like to kind of graze and you feel like you do well with that, you can manage your intake better, then consider sticking to something like that. Now, if you're like me and you like 2 big square meals a day and that seems to do well for you, then go with that. So these are ways to use your macronutrients, and assuming that you're eating high quality foods with lots of color in them, vegetables, that is, not like gummy snacks or something. If you're doing that, then you're going to feel more satisfied and therefore you're going to eat less. So calories do still come into play. And if you do want to track, you are welcome to do that to see where that baseline is. And I think it's a good idea for those that are maybe newer to having the awareness of what they're eating and what they're not. But long-term, you want to manage this with high food quality and finding a macronutrient and a food timing rhythm that works for you. So a way of eating that works is one that's sustainable and allows you to eat the appropriate amount of calories for your body. So to summarize, that could be food timing you can use. So it could be eating less meals, eating more meals, doing something like intermittent fasting. It could be through the macronutrients you're eating. So it could be a higher carb versus a lower carb approach, eating more protein, which tends to be more satisfying. Or it could be through just eating higher dense mineral rich foods such as leafy greens and things that leave you feeling more satisfied while having less calories in them. So I know that's a kind of a lot of things to consider. And really, if you're wondering about tracking calories or not, think of it as, if you do want to track calories, I would summarize it as, do you want to have a baseline of where you're at? And if you're doing something that's working, you can have a baseline of saying, hey, I know in general, this is about how many calories I need to perform at a high level. Or if you're struggling, it could be, hey, this is where I'm currently at. Where can I make some changes to improve that? So the first one is establishing a baseline, and the second one is just bringing some awareness to what you're actually eating. So if you have to punch everything in, and again, I don't think this is a long-term approach or one that's necessarily fun, in my opinion, but by putting everything in, even the little things that you're having, the sauces that you're having, you'll realize that you might be having more calories than you really realize, and that could be causing some weight gain or some trouble losing weight or leaning up the way that you want. So remember, while tracking calories alone won't guarantee you success, the success of any style of eating comes down to your goals and your ability to control your calorie intake. So find something that works for you and stick with that. If you neglect this, you'll continue to fall short of your health and fitness goals. And that's something that it gets frustrating. It gets overwhelming because you might just be missing a small change that can lead to a big result. So by being aware of what you're currently consuming and what you need to be consuming to achieve your goals, you'll be able to work your way closer to your ideal weight and fitness levels. So I know it's confusing and I know it's a lot to take in, but if you're looking for some more simple nutrition recommendations as it relates to nutrition, sleep, fitness, and stress management, the 4 pillars that we always talk about, go ahead over to the show notes and download our free Inside Out Strong Living Roadmap for the exact nutrition recommendations that we give our clients. And those are things like using your hands to control portion, that's focusing on food quality, and some of the other things that we talk about. So go ahead and check that out if you guys are interested, and just go get started on whatever style works for you. Don't get so caught up in the weeds of this. There's a lot of details we could get into. Said there can be a whole other episode on some of those things, but find something that works and go do it. Go make it happen. And let me know if you guys need anything. I'm here for you. You can reach out. And if you do need anything, go ahead and shoot me an email, shoot me a note, and we'd be happy to answer any specific questions. So thanks for listening today, guys. And I'll talk to you tomorrow.